This is FalconPaladin coming to you with yet another daily Blizzard upload. This is a game between VampyWorm and Hozle on Cactus Valley, the latter edition. This is a Legacy of the Void replay and a Protoss versus Zerg, and I'm really excited for this because VampyWorm submitted an entire replay pack, and I am very excited about this because I was running low on Legacy of the Void replays. Thank you so much for helping me out, VampyWorm. I am sure this will come back to help you in some other way. Karma is real. A subscriber pointed out that the game timer was not showing up on the Legacy of the Void replays, so I enabled it, and thank you to that subscriber for pointing it out, just to see timings and all that different stuff. So, in the top left of Cactus Valley, we have the red Protoss player, VampyWorm. And in the top right of the map, we have the blue Zerg player, Hozle, or Hozle perhaps. I'm going to call him Hozle because that's kind of fun. Do have a hatchery going down for Hozle, the spawning pool as well. I think this was a hatch first. Yeah, I think it was. So a little gutsy there from Hozle. Again, people have complained in the past that if we know exactly where the which player submitted the replay, it generally tells us who won, but VampyWorm submitted like 25 replays. I think he described his whole replay folder and sent it over. So I'm guaranteeing that there are losses in here as well. Do not assume because this is VampyWorm's replay that he won. But it looks like he's going for the 2-gate Adept attack, which is something that we have seen quite a bit in Legacy of the Void, at least a couple times. It looks like it's gaining popularity. Walnut from Walnut Gaming actually did a whole podcast, or a whole, I guess, a YouTube series on how powerful this is, especially against Terran, but apparently it's powerful against Zerg as well, because that's what VampyWorm is doing. Now, Adepts have a lot of armor, comes out with 1 armor, which really is important in the early game, and it does extra damage to light, so 23 damage to light, which means drones and Zerglings and all that stuff that Zerg players have in the early game. And popping out are roaches. Oh wow, Roach Warren was up there. I don't think I saw that. Roaches do not count as light. They do have that 1 armor as well. The roaches are out here at the 3.5 minute mark. 5 roaches off of 2 bays. They're going to push these Adepts back, and VampyWorm might be in a bit of trouble. He didn't wall off. You'll notice he put his gateways here. He did not wall off this, so I think these roaches might be able to get in and do a lot of damage. These Adepts are not fantastic at dealing with them. This Nexus is not done yet. We won't be able to see a photon overcharge for quite a while, although the Mothership Core does have enough energy to do so. Just barely. So here we come. We're going to see roaches versus Adepts. They are focusing down 1 Adept at a time. Very smart. Actually, that stopped as soon as I said that was happening, so we are kind of spacing that out. This is an interesting fight. Mothership Core, there we go. Nexus finishes. Overcharge comes up. The roaches are forced to back the heck out because they cannot deal with DPS from that as well as these Adepts. But in the end, it is 30 to 32 Harvesters. Are we going to get another Adept out of this? Good micro, moving the injured one away. The injured one away twice. Are we going to get... Oh, no, does not lose either one of those Adepts. Well played, and a lot of roaches actually have died there. So 5 roaches have died, 3 Adepts have died. I think we've been joining up on the back of this. Hozle would be very smart if that's what is going on. And yeah, 43 Harvesters to 33. I'd like to see the Zerg take another base at this point. Moving up the Spine Crawler, getting the Creep Tumors out. You probably want to take your 3rd down here. There it is. I need to pay more attention to the minimap when I make predictions, because yes, there it is. This is a little bit too close to the Protoss player to be comfortable. And let's see what the Protoss player is doing on the back of that Adept. Looks like he's chrono boosting out an Observer just for scouting, I have to assume. Maybe burrowed roaches or something he's worried about. Robotics Bay and a Forge. So, interesting play. Could be Disruptors, which are very good against roaches. It does one-shot roaches, as we saw in a previous video. Disruptor attack with that AoE can kill a whole group of roaches by itself. Not as good against Lurkers. But again, here comes a Warp Prism actually out of the Robotics facility now. Robo Bay coming up. And anything queued here? No, there's not. So Warp Prism attack going to come up. Is there any defense here in the main? Not really. I mean, we have scouting. The Overlords are here looking for this. There's a Queen ready to shoot down the Prism if it can. Observer getting a full scout off. There is no detection in the base of the Zerg player at all. Hozle getting Evolution Chambers. Not getting any Overseers. Is there an Overseer now? No, there's not. So he could actually throw down like Dark Templar. He doesn't have a Templar Archives, but might be something that would be really good. And here we go. Here comes the Disruptor. So how is this going to work? Is it like a Disruptor drop with the Warp Prism? Warp Prism is not moving out. Warping in a couple sentries, probably for defense here. Just kind of worried about an attack. at the front door is our friend VampyWorm. Taking a third base of his own, though, so feeling very, very safe. Observer doesn't see much. There's not a huge army ready to come kill him. There are a few roaches. These are mainly for defense, though. Now there's an Overseer, which is good. And transferring some probes over to this Nexus a little bit early. I think they're going to be doing some long-distance mining, but we are pretty much saturated on the first and second bases. So I did forget to mention that VampyWorm is from Team Ascension, as you can see by this fancy logo here, which means he is a really solid StarCraft 2 player. Ascension is pretty picky in who they allow into their ranks, so the fact that VampyWorm is in there is a very, very good sign for his ability in this game. So here comes the Warp Prism. We're going to go ahead and follow it for a little while. Oh, does get spotted by the roaches. The Disruptor might be able to drop and do his ability and take out a lot of these roaches, but instead choosing to go back here. I'm not sure if we're going to drop. Yes, immediately uses the ability and boom, kills a lot of units. Did that get 15 kills? Holy Hannah, 11 drones lost, 9 total roaches lost. Now, I think that was a 15 kill drop Disruptor. Holy smokes. Wow. Alright, I think we're going to see a lot more of this in Legacy of the Void because, man, Hozle was ready for that. He had queens, he had roaches. He basically followed the Warp Prism all the way to its destination, but it dropped, used the ability immediately on the Disruptor, and bam, everything died. So well played there. Overlord scouting, checks out that third base, does see it's there. Probably wants to take a fourth base soon if you are Hozle. It is 64 to 65 harvesters. Here comes another drop, though. Warp Prism popping right on in. Get those drones out of there. Runaway drones trying to find an optimal place to explode, and bam! Gets more kills. How many drones now? 19 drones have died. I think that was 8 more drones that died in that attack, and they're going to come down here and do the exact same thing again. Spire is building. It's a good scout there by VampyWorm. Maybe trying to get some kills here at the third. A bit less protected, although there's really nothing here. I guess there are queens. But the Warp Prism has taken some damage. It's down to 20 hit points. It's regenerating those shields, which is nice. Here we go. Drop coming in again. Dropping down. Not as many drones to kill here, but he's going to get them. How many kills? 31 kills on that Disruptor. 31. Hozle doing a pretty terrible job moving drones out, like splitting them, getting them away from the Disruptor. But at the same time, dang, that is powerful. Corruptors are here trying to deal with that Warp Prism. Do they find it? Yes, they do. It's up here along the edge of the map, and finally it does explode. So that is the end of that Disruptor with its, what, 30 kills, I think it was. More Disruptors being made, Stalkers as well. The Adapts are still here. And what else is going on? Just more and more gateways. We are researching Blink. Blink Stalkers are an interesting choice as well. And more Disruptors coming out. So Disruptor, Blink Stalker looks like the composition of choice for VampyWorm. A fourth base coming up, actually, about the same time as the Zerg player. So feeling very, very safe. 70 harvesters to 68 right now in favor of the Protoss player. Creep spread coming on out, looking actually pretty good. I'd like to see more than one creep tumor on the edge of this creep, though, just because one creep tumor takes a while to spread, and 2 or 3 or 4 is so much better. We are putting a pylon here with the probe to get the Zelnaga watchtower, just to make sure nothing crazy happens here in the middle of the map. Corruptors running around trying to find a Warp Prism. I guess they're not doing so great. Whole lot of Blink Stalkers and Disruptors coming on out, though. I don't know what composition can deal with this. As a Zerg player, he is actually upgrading to a Hive here at the 9-minute mark. That is an early Hive. I don't know if this is going to pay off for him or not. Man, I hope he puts up a fight, because I don't think he has anything... What does he have? 8 roaches, 7 corruptors. This might actually be the end of the game. Here come the Blink Stalkers. Hydras are now being made, though. The Stalkers being delayed a little bit because they are interested in killing that creep. They don't want to just go right on in there onto the creep and make their attack. So let's see if these guys are going to be a little bit brave and move on in. More Hydras are being made, but I don't know if there are enough. That Disruptor attack was just so intensely dangerous and damaging to the Zerg player that Hozle is trying to play catch-up. He now has 78 to 70 harvesters, which is really good for him. But these Stalkers just kind of running around, seeing what they can see, and just kind of putting some pressure on the Zerg player, making him feel not safe. But he might have left the Zerg player alone a little bit too long. It is 160 to 120 supply, though. Protoss is severely up in that area. The Corruptors are still hanging out in the bottom left of the map here. Not sure what they're up to. Looking for something. Taking another base is VampyWorm's feeling so confident right now. The Zerg player does not know what to do. Sniping creep tumors, moving on in. Giant Blink Stalker Deathball Disruptors also augmenting here. A few roaches, 18 Hydras in production, a Greater Spire in production as well. might be pretty good. These Hydras are getting cut away from the rest of their friends, and they're all going to go down without killing a single Stalker. Trying to come along. Oh, and Immortals here as well. I mean, that's just icing on the cake as far as I'm concerned. That base goes down. More and more Stalkers are coming through. 178 to 109 supply in favor of VampyWorm. The army is just too small for Hozle. 10 Hydras coming up. Getting that +3/+3 is nice, but I don't think it's enough. The Greater Spire is going to finish, but here at the 11-minute mark, the Protoss player is essentially maxed out. He's coming on in. He does have +2 attack and +2 armor. This base explodes instantly. Disruptors don't really need to do anything at this point. They're here just in case something big happens, but no, unfortunately not. Hydra's chasing down a single disruptor that kind of popped up here on his own. I'm not sure what he was doing, but here we come. Blink Stalkers, I think on their own, are pretty much enough to win this battle. Picking up a disruptor inside that warp prism. I'm going to go and see what damage can be done. Warping in Zealots, a good choice here. They can absorb some of the damage from the Roaches and the Hydras. Broodlords are being made, so 7 Broodlords in production. Are they going to come out in time to stop this? And really, a good blink under those Broodlords is enough to kill them, so I don't think it even matters. But we'll see what happens anyway. Hozle's base going down again. He has a single base now. He has nothing mining whatsoever. He is down to 295 minerals. Where are the Broodlords? I do not see. Here they are. Broodlords, yeah, getting blinked under. Snap, snap. They can one-shot these Broodlords with those +2 upgrades. Every single one of them are going to die. Hozle calls the GG, and VampyWorm is victorious. So, okay, a bit of a one-sided match there, but it was interesting to see that Disruptor play. That Disruptor drop was incredibly disruptive to the Zerg economy, and I think directly led to how one-sided this final battle was. He had to spend so much time rebuilding those drones that by the time the army showed up, he wasn't quite ready. He wanted to have Broodlords, he wanted to have Hydras and Roaches, but everything kind of trickled out piecemeal. He didn't have the giant army he needed to deal with this particular composition from VampyWorm. I think he would have done pretty well with Roaches and Hydras and Broodlords, but in the end, they didn't have it all at once, and that's really what mattered. So, thank you so much for watching. Again, this has been FalconPaladin with yet another daily Blizzard upload. If you liked what you saw today, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. You can share my stuff on, Reddit, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. I guess you can't really share on Twitch, but those other places you can. I am on the social media network /FalconPaladin. Do a search for me. You'll probably find me there. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, you take care of yourself.